Meredith Houseman is a housemaster at Slaughterhouse, the head of Sparta. He is a long-suffering sort of resident of Slaughterhouse, and he, I think he loves his job, but I think he longs to get away from it. You know, I think he can't quite leave the cricket team behind. He feels a sort of duty bound to the school, when really what he wants to do is fly away. But I don't think he has the confidence or the initiative to do so, really. Well, I've worked with Crispian before, and the screenplay was given to me by Crispian a while ago just to read as a kind of, what do you think about this as a film kind of thing. And I really liked it, and I suggested that, if it was to gain momentum, then I'd like to be involved in some capacity, maybe as a producer. And then when Crispian started working with Catalyst and Charlotte there, I sort of came in with my sort of nascent production company, Stolen Picture, to add a little bit of, I guess, sort of, brand sort of character, I guess. It would be wrong to say that I did any hard work. Charlotte Walls has been an amazing producer, and Joe Rose at Sony. I think what Nick and I have done is sort of give it a kind of a face in a way, because it's a hard film to define. I think on paper it's brilliantly different, and I like that very much about the script when I read it. Slaughterhouse Rules is it's the story of a school. At the same time, it's the story of the country, if you want to get into metaphorical terms. But on a microcosmic level, it's the story of a school which has sold off part of its land to a fracking company, because it is on its uppers and needs to sort of get a bit of money. And as a result of this soul-selling exercise, it unearths a terror from beneath the school, which wreaks havoc on the students and teachers. Well, Slaughterhouse is a horror comedy, but I think, as in, the best of that genre, it was also sort of slightly social commentary as well, in terms of the UK and the class system and our, sort of hunger for privatization. And it's it's a social metaphor wrapped up in a fun, gory kind of blood-soaked wrapping, which is, I think horror is a great genre, but if you can make it also mean something, horror is also a great metaphor. It's also a great allegorical tool, and I think Slaughterhouse Rules has that, as well as being very, very funny as well. It's a little fluffy knife. It's been great working with Michael Sheen, if only because now we can fully confirm that we are not the same person. I've been mistaken for Michael several times, and he has for me. So we decided to do this film just specifically to prove those people wrong. I love Michael. I think he's a brilliant actor. He's fabulous to watch. He's one of those actors that you can actually get lost during a take watching them act. You sort of you forget your lines because you're just sort of watching them do their thing. Nick plays Anonymous, which is a sort of a protester living in the woods who has a history, we discover, with Slaughterhouse. But yeah, he's the sort of face of the kind of, the revolution, the anti-establishment force lurking in the woods just outside the school on the very fringes, knocking to get in, the proletariat about to storm the palace kind of thing. And I think Nick had a great deal of fun with that. It was his idea to have a grill in his teeth, and I've really enjoyed working with the young guys, the kids, as I call them. It's been really fun just to sort of hang out with them and listen to them talking to each other. And it's odd, but I felt a little bit like like Bill Nighy on Shaun of the Dead. You know, he was the kind of the old guy who Bill's not old, but to us he was like, wow, Bill Nighy. I'm not saying they think that of me, but I felt like the kind of the old guy, you know. And but they're also present and professional, you know, all of them, Finn and Asa and Hermione, but also right down to Kit, you know. I say Dan, I just mean physically Dan because he's only 13, and Max, who are the two younger actors. They're both really, really sort of on it, you know, and it's been a really fun thing to hang out with everybody, Louis and Izzy, and I like just sitting in my chair and hanging out with them. I'm glad they let me hang out with them, and they probably talk about me behind my back, and there goes old Stinky, they'll say. I had a particularly close encounter with Teddy, which I don't think we could have staged if we tried to do it. There was a scene when one of the Teddies is sliding down this pole. This is a spoiler alert. You should be watching this on the extras when you've seen the film. And his tongue sort of lolls out and was supposed to slap me in the face. But anticipating that, I turned with my mouth open, and the tongue went straight into my mouth. And we had an incredible sort of passionate French kiss. And it was so brilliantly on target that it looked like a reverse move, you know, like it just went, but it was fantastic. And I know for a fact it's going to be in the movie just because it was just too damn good to not use. He understands film on such a deep level. He has such a great kind of, you know, he's not winging this. He's not thinking, oh, I'm going to have a go at filmmaking. He knows this very, very well. And I love how he writes, and I love how he approaches his directorial choices. You know, he really does think everything through very carefully. He's got a lovely sort of wit, and he parlays that into some, you know, some really great sort of shot composition. He's very fast. He works, you know, once he's happy, he moves on. He doesn't noodle away for ages trying to get a better take than the one that was already good enough or good or brilliant. You know, he'll say, no, I got it. If he gets it, he moves on. And that's great, because when you're making a film in this way, you can't really afford to dawdle. You can't sort of be sort of weak-kneed about things. And he's not. He's really brave, and I think he makes great movies. First and foremost, this film is a comedy, but also I hope that the tension and the scares and the sort of visceral experience of being chased by horrible carnivorous mole creatures, you know, is thrilling for the audience. It's a really fun movie. It has a little bit of everything. There's some tragedy here as well. There's some real human drama, you know, but at the same time, it's a wonderful sort of sly critique of the ruling classes and our tendency to sacrifice the environment for our own ends, and how that might come back and bite us literally in the arse.